What is going on, friends? Welcome into another edition of Sports from the Couch and the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I appreciate you making us a part of your day. And I was getting ready to jump into the nursery studio here on Sports from the Couch and talk about the NFL schedule releases, and more specifically, the Chicago Bears, and maybe giving a couple grades on how the releases were done by each team's social media. That's what I was going to do until a bombshell came into the news cycle and took not just Chicago Bears fandom, but the entire football world by storm. A book is coming out, and finally, some excerpts are coming out from it. Talk is coming out from it. The book is American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, ESPN senior writer, and New York Times best-selling author of It's Better to Be Feared. Seth Wickersham is the author behind this book. So let's get into the article itself, because there are so many things that we need to break down about what has kind of now come to the surface. Quarterback Caleb Williams was so concerned about being picked by the Chicago Bears in the 2024 draft that he and his family weighed circumventing the entire NFL draft, consulting with lawyers to figure out a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement while considering signing with the United Football League. Details from a forthcoming book reveal. Quote, Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. Carl Williams, Caleb's father, told Seth Wickersham, author of American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, in the months before the 2024 draft. Caleb Williams wondered aloud to confidence, quote, do I want to go there? I don't think I could do it with Waldron. And the article breaks down a little bit more about what the entire book is going to be about. And this seems like it's going to be absolutely fascinating. But let's go more back to what's pertinent about the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. The book offers an inside look at Williams' state of mind. Carl Williams went to great lengths to try to circumvent the NFL draft, Wickersham writes, wanted to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. The Bears had not drafted a star quarterback since the 1980s, and their recent draft selections, Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields, didn't pan out. Carl Williams was worried with the franchise history, stadium uncertainty, and offensive performance under then head coach Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams wouldn't have organizational support to succeed. Quote, I don't want my son playing for the Bears, Williams told several agents in 2024. Looking for a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement, Carl Williams spoke with Archie Manning, who helped Eli Manning assert a measure of control over his eventual team in 2004. He also met with labor lawyers and agents, and even considered whether his son could sign with the United Football League and become an unrestricted NFL free agent in 2025 to be able to pick a team. In addition to the draft process, Carl Williams vented about the rookie wage scale, which could lock his son into the team that drafted him for up to 8 years. He calculated hundreds of millions of lost market value income. Quote, the rookie cap is just unconstitutional, Carl Williams told Wickersham, later adding that the CBA is the worst, quote, worst piece of shit I've ever read. It's the worst in sports history. After an up and down final season at USC, Caleb Williams was unsure of what he wanted to do as he prepared for the 2024 draft. At the NFL Combine that year, he met with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two hit it off, and Caleb Williams began to dream of what it'd be like to play for Minnesota. Quote, I need to go to the Vikings, he told his father. Let's do it, his father replied. But both Caleb and Carl knew that a trade to a divisional rival was extremely unlikely. Bears GM Ryan Poles stood firm, telling Williams, we're drafting you no matter what. That left one option, to publicly attack the Bears and the city of Chicago, hoping that it would make the situation untenable, similar to what Jack and John Elway had done with the Baltimore Colts in 1983. Quote, he's worried about me taking bullets, Carl Williams told Wickersham of his son. Quote, I don't care. I just don't agree with this shit. You know, I'm more interested in making sure that he can do what he wants to do. But Caleb was concerned that if they did try and the Bears refused to trade him, it would make a tough situation worse. In the end, Caleb Williams told Wickersham, I wasn't ready to nuke the city. After a pre-draft visit to the Bears facility, Williams believed he would be a part of a process to turn the franchise around. I can do it for this team, Caleb told his dad. I'm going to go to the Bears. The Bears declined to comment. The book also sheds light on Williams' tumultuous rookie season, in which both Eberflus and Waldron were fired and Bears lost 10 straight games. At times, Williams said he would watch film alone with no instruction or guidance from the coaches. Quote, no one tells me what to watch, Caleb Williams told his dad. Quote, I just turn it on. Caleb Williams mostly played well as a rookie, despite the coaching instability. For the year, he completed 62.5% of his passes with 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He was sacked a league-leading 68 times. The Bears hired well-respected Detroit's offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, in January. Speaking to reporters in April, Caleb Williams was excited. Quote, being able to be in this position, being able to have a first year the way I did, ups and downs, and to be able to come in here, be as confident as I was last year, or possibly even more, and be able to get here with the group that we have. I really can't wait to get to work with these guys, he said. Quote, him pushing me is key, he said. I know that, and he knows that. I can't wait to be able to help me learn and ball because he's super smart and super sharp. Quote, I see a chance for greatness here for him. He's been communicated that way, and he feels the same way. I don't know what's gone on prior to him joining the organization, but he's very proud to be a Chicago Bear, Johnson told Fox Sports, The Herd, hosted by Colin Cowherd, following the publication of the story on Thursday. Quote, that's our conversations have included. He's really excited to get to work right now and be the best version of himself for 2025. You can read the entire article to break down even more about this book coming out. It is Caleb Williams Sought Ways Around Going to Chicago. The book is American Kings, a biography of the quarterback by Seth Wickersham. There is a lot to break down there. The most important thing is context. To understand and to be mature, to be understanding, to have enough perspective as an NFL fan, as a sports fan, and more emotionally connected, a Bears fan. This was a few years back. These are the words mostly of Carl Williams, not Caleb Williams. This was a regime that had a head coach, a leadership problem, if you want to use the word leadership, that was Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron. It is important to keep that context in mind because as of May 2025, he was drafted by the Chicago Bears. He did have a rookie season, and there is excitement about the Bears going into next season, going into Caleb Williams' sophomore year. With that in mind, one of the biggest takeaways I took from reading this article and so excited to read this book was not about Caleb Williams. I don't blame the Williams family. I don't blame Caleb for not trusting the Chicago Bears organization. I don't blame Carl Williams for not wanting his son and his son's potential future to be ruined by an incompetent front office and ownership. More specifically, the historical incompetency of the Bears ownership. That was the biggest takeaway from this entire story. That a team that has not been able to get its ducks in a row when it comes to a brand new stadium that is right there ready for them. They have the land. They've invested all this time, all this posturing, and they continue to drag their feet. A team that decided that a coach like Mark Trestman, John Fox, Matt Nagy, Matt Eberflus were the men to lead your team into the new age of this NFL. This organization allowed Matt Eberflus to bring in Shane Waldron to run your offense. And what was he doing as your offensive coordinator? The shepherd of the number 1 overall pick at quarterback of all positions? Not in the film room, not breaking down tape, not helping develop your young quarterback. The Chicago Bears should feel ashamed of themselves from this article. You should be embarrassed because I am as a Bears fan. Now, credit where credit is due. They did go out and get the hot shot free agent offensive coordinator from the division rival and brought him in here. We've seen them address the offensive line, the defensive line, to be creative and to have what a lot of people are thinking, a really good draft. But that's right now. That's the regime change. That's the Ben Johnson, Kevin Warren effect. But for decades at this point, this team has been a laughingstock at the very tippy top of ownership. They go to owner meetings, and they are the ones that get made fun of. They're the ones that are used as an example of what not to do. When you're dealing with these multi-billionaires who are now coming into this club to own one of these precious NFL teams, they're ruthless. That's not what the McCaskies are. And to be fair, the McCaskies are lovely people. I think they are actually genuinely nice people. I don't think they're malicious. I don't think they're good at their job. And I think the reason why vibes have changed now, I think why people are more willing to be forgiving and allow some rope for this era of Bears football is because they've given up control. They brought somebody in from outside the family. They spent money. They were aggressive. They were ahead of the curve. That's what's different. But you can't blame Caleb, Carl, or any player over the last 15, 20 years that didn't want to come play for the Chicago Bears. You can't. And that is what's happened. That is what's happened. This team has shot themselves over and over again in their own foot and then wanted applause when they put a bandage on it. And it's coming to the forefront now of just how embarrassing it was. So whenever you wondered over the last 10 years, over the last 15 years, why this team couldn't get over any hump, why they couldn't get over any type of adversity, why there couldn't be any consistency, you found out just right now. From the very top of the organization, people found it a laughingstock. Didn't trust in it. This is Chicago, the third largest market in the United States, the charter franchise of the most popular sports in the United States. And it's a laughingstock. That's what this article showed. You had what could be, right? A generational quarterback, or at least a generational quarterback for your specific organization, and you did nothing to help him. You did nothing. You were stubborn. You were ignorant as a coaching staff, as a leadership council, as shepherds to the future for these young men who are putting their career in your hands to put them in the right positions, to develop them, to find ways to win football games. They didn't do that. And the front office are the ones that made the hire. I like Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles has made many mistakes at this point. He has hit on so many as well. But that is a case where they were going to let Ryan Poles run wild with no checks and balances. They needed somebody with an outside voice to help, maybe a little bit of advice, a little bit of teaching, and Ryan Poles might be a great GM in the next 10 years. But everything that has been fortunate over the last few months, if you will, any kind of positive story that has come from Hallis Hall has not been because of McCaskey, because of ownership. It's been because of people outside of the organization that have been brought in to fix it. This was a damning article. This is a damning story, and it was legitimate on the side of the Williams family to feel this way. And now the pressure is on not only Ryan Poles, it's on Ben Johnson, and of course it's not as if they didn't need anymore after a tough schedule they're going to have to play in 2025. But this also is going to put a lot of pressure on Caleb. Look at this Bears team on paper is a nice team. I still think they probably only win 7, 8, 9 games. I don't think they win the NFC North. I don't think they go to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to take a step. I think you're going to see good things from Ben Johnson. I think you're going to see a professional team with guys like Eric Bieniemy and Antoine Randall and Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson. That is a coaching staff. Those are leader of men. And when you're looking, what do you mean? What is a leader of men, dude? It's leading by example, good or bad. When you succeed or fail, that you're right there with your guys trying to fix the mistakes, in front of the media, taking the questions, having the answer to the question you know you're going to get asked, not hiding behind semantics and walk around and just word salad. This coaching staff is leader of men. So Caleb Williams is going to have the pressure of, you brought in real coaches, you've had a good draft, you revamped the offensive line, your defense is going to be good. It's time to take the next step. So this story is putting a spotlight, and it's going to be one of the main stories the first few weeks of this season. It's going to be one of the main talking points when we get to training camp, and it will be a graphic that you see week 1, week 2, week 3 in the NFL, especially if they don't start off hot. And again, the Minnesota Vikings thing, this is where context matters though, right? Would this story have came out if Ben Johnson were the head coach of the Chicago Bears in 2024? Probably not, right? Like, he probably would have gotten Caleb excited. And that's why I can't blame him for wanting to play for Kevin O'Connell. Who wouldn't want to play for? I want to play for Kevin O'Connell. You know, like, this story, I don't think there should be any type of hatred, any kind of vitriol, any type of venom towards Caleb. I don't. I think Caleb not only has earned, I think, the trust of a lot of people, fans, broadcasters, journalists in Chicago. He's a true professional, hell of a ball player, a lot of potential. So I don't blame him for this. I would prefer if Carl maybe take a step back. We've seen a lot in the NBA and the NFL, Major League Baseball, sport dads, you know, dads of these athletes, some of them who did play, some of them who haven't, like to be in front of the camera, like to be in front of a microphone. Look, I get it. I'm in the nursery right now. I can only imagine how much you want to protect yours. But it's their story to be told. Whether Caleb Williams is a Bear for the next 8 years, or he's gone, or he becomes a superstar, he becomes an MVP, he flames out of the league, whatever the case may be, he needs to write his story. So the only piece of suggestion I would give to the Williams family, not that it matters, but the one piece of advice I would give him is maybe take a step back. You're in the NFL. You're in the big leagues. You're in a huge market. You already are beloved in the city. You'll win a few games. You make a couple postseasons. You sniff a championship maybe, and you'll have statues here. You'll make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So hopefully this story, this book, is a timestamp, is a time capsule of a horribly ran, incompetent era of Chicago Bears football, and is a nice transition into a new era, an exciting era, an adventurous era, a unique era of Chicago Bears football. One thing I always put an asterisk, the caveat, it is football. Weird things can happen. They could end up winning one game. They could win the Super Bowl. But the point being is, you're not going to be embarrassed talking about the Chicago Bears. You're not going to be worried about a Chicago Bears season. Not like you would had this story came out and the Chicago Bears do what they always did, and that's whittle their thumbs and put their head in the sand. They didn't do that. So at the very least, you can hang your hat on the idea that this might be a different era of Chicago Bears football. Let's just hope we never go back to what this story put a spotlight on. We want to know your thoughts. How big of news is this that Caleb Williams really didn't want to come to Chicago Bears, and that the Williams family themselves were doing everything possible to probably circumvent and change the way the NFL draft is handled? Leave a comment down below here on the YouTube channel at The Sports Cubicle. Are you mad at Caleb, and why? Like, genuinely speaking, I don't understand it, but if you are, let me know why you feel the way you do, because if you are putting this in context and understanding that this was from 2 years back already, and that he has bought all in and is excited and has been nothing professional and still played the way he did, essentially not having any coaches. I want to know why you would blame them, if any of this. Let me know your thoughts. I am fascinated with this, but it is going to be an interesting couple of weeks and a couple of months, as this story is not going to go anywhere. But I think maybe what we'll do is in the next video, we'll go ahead and actually talk about the NFL schedule. We got a whole lot left on this edition of the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch. Please take care of yourself and each other. We'll see you in the next video here on Sports from the Couch and the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.